Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And it says rotate the device back. I never know if I get this right. So, the first person in, please tell me if I'm sideways or not. So, as always, I do um, greet you with the love and the intent of the great creator. And I do always pray. Hi there. Am I correct or am I sideways? Please tell me. Hi there. Laura? Gosh, man. Travis. Am I right side up or sideways? The thing tells me I'm wrong. Hey, Esther. How are you? Hola. ¿Cómo estás? That's about all the Spanish I know. Leche, milk. Mm. Did you see DS video on Caristas? Yes. On um doggone it. My memory is so bad. But I just watched it. Uh live, you're currently watching. Oh, I'm watching myself? How did that happen? Live, you're currently watching. Oh, I'm watching myself? How did that? That's weird. I can see myself in the camera, but I've never tried to watch myself on the television before. I look even worse in living color. Um, yes, I saw the video, and uh, I was like, I couldn't believe that Pathfinder had a video up that says, you know, the most interesting man in the universe for Hawkeye Two Feathers, or it says, well, what I see is for Hawkeye 2. And so I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And it says it says 5 months ago on the thing, but then the other one's A Long Walk was 10 days ago. Um, and I watched that one as well. Well, I watched them all, actually. And so after I watched them, I went outside and stood in the yard, and I did exactly this. I love you. 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 And I was tears running down my eyes, and I was like, well, now what? Because, there's always been a hint and a suspect, and folks telling me in the comments, when folks are watching you. And, I've had the Mother Mary thing, and I was trying to figure out how to put a title on this video. And whatever would I say? Because, it's like, all right, I've always hoped I've always dreamt, if you will, of being a part of the team. I couldn't get to Europe, and I'd spent too much of my life, being a drug addict and drunkard, and then, and then being a victim all the time. Um, so I stayed depressed all the time. And it was like, and then I found, and then, well, things happened, and Mother Mary came and showed up in here in the room one day, along with two other nuns, and they weren't here, but that much. And boy, howdy, that meant, and I knew that it was time to really, 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 really clean up my act. I was trying to, but no, 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 no. I was crying and whining all the time, and I, I, I was trying, but well, no, no. I wasn't trying as hard as I could have, should have. And Sister Helene showing up was like, "You know better," and I'm like, "Oh no," it's she was my mentor, and when I seen her standing there, I was like, "Oh no." I knew exactly what it meant. I knew that I had not been working to my potential, as it were. So after that event, I mean, shortly after that, or I, ran into Dante. Now, I had seen the Alien Races book earlier on, but I was not hooked up to what the cause of the Charistas meant. Now, to a basic point, I have never been one to do evil things. I am just not one to have been out back, plucking the hairs off the, dog's eyebrows and, and cooking mama in, well, there's a couple of times when I, could have wanted to take Bessie out back because she was a rather weird stepmother, but that's all dead and gone. And for as much bitterness as I had in lifetime, I carried her to the grave, to her grave when she died. So, if I hated her, I wouldn't have done it. But anyway, so I've started learning more about internal stuff. I started paying more attention to what I used to know. And what I used to know was I used to read the Bible in church on Sundays. In so many ways, I used to preach to the auditorium. That church is not even there anymore. That I can remember, I can feel myself standing up there on the pulpit on the right side, right side of the altar area from my point of view. And I can remember that one time, and I mean, it was like one of the first times, great big Bible. And I walked out from behind in the vestibule there, and I walked out there, and I'm sitting down, and I'm holding the Bible, and I got the page open, right? And I'm kind of looking down, and the priest says what he says, and okay, it's time for today's gospel epistle. So that's my cue. Up to the pulpit I go, and there's a pretty decent house in the auditorium, in the congregation. And I laid this big book, beautiful book, on on the pulpit there, and it's got beautiful engraved letters. You know, at the beginning of a paragraph, if it's a P or a B or whatever it is, there's this beautiful piece of artwork right there at the beginning of the sentence. Fantastic. And a big book, you know. So I'm reading the Epistle of St. John. Now I can't remember it, but I remember reading it. And I remember the incident, looking out across the folks and going, I'm standing up here reading the Word of God. I'm standing up here. What am I doing up here? Alexander, what are you doing? I see energy going high. People up, what? Crap, no. Energy going high. People uprising around the world. We are in a revolution. We're into something. And um, we're into something. I'll get to it in a minute, but I want to kind of get what. So, in my understanding about things, I start, I have ended up here. Mother Mary told me that there was going to be something she wanted me to do when I grew up. I am still 72. Thus, the reason I'm 72 until the 24th. I am a 72 until the 24th. And that's my own. Nobody can take it from me because I'm still 72. I know it don't mean nothing but to me, you know, because I've always wanted to be a 72, as crazy and as clutched up as I have been in my lifetime. From the time that I stood on that pulpit, I knew I wanted to do right. Yeah, 24th is my birthday. Yep. So I'm a 72 until I am 72 until then, and then I'll be 73. So it's a joke, son. It's a joke in my head. At 72, and wait, 72, what? 72 add to 9, and we are in a 9 universal year. Huh? I don't get that, but I don't get a lot of stuff. So, but anyway, so years ago when I found Dante, and he was like, he did his thing where I understood, it's like, there's nobody out there really cares. And I think this is stupid. And they want me to stop doing these things. And I was like, oh, Jesus, please don't. I'm finally starting to find my center. I don't understand everything that he's posting in the videos, but I see the Charistus. I see the things he's talking about. I'm paying attention. In fact, there were times, and I don't know whether or not this was meant to or not, but on Friday night I'd be talking about something, and I'd picked a topic for the night, and I'm blabbering on about something or other. And next day, Dante, he'd say one or two words that was like backed up what I said. So I went, holy mackerel there, Andy. So synchronicity, I'm just synchronicity. So more synchronicity. And so I pleaded, please don't leave us out in the cold, Man, I did an hour video of crying and weeping. I was serious. I still am. And they posted some of it on his channel. And I went, what? So ever since then, I guess, you know, um, the angels have been watching me. That's what I feel. And many people have said, Dave, you got angels watching over you. And I, I agree. I agree. I believe. You have no idea how much I believe. When I thought my thing before was 10 years ago, I thought that I believed. And then I learned some other stuff. And then I went, crap. I thought I believed. But wait. Now I believe. And it was like a little later on, it was like, son of a gun, I've learned some more shit. Oh man. I thought I believed before, but I gotta start over. I believe this time. You know. Well, wait a minute, I believed the last two times. It's not that I quit believing. I've just added to the believing. If that's possible. So it's like I'm a believing. Well, what about this? Oh Jesus, I believe in some more. And what about this? Oh Lord have mercy. I believe in even that. How much more believing you want me to believe? Um, what? There's, then I got to follow you, Hawkeye, and you have a beautiful soul. Uh, no, I was born in '52. I was born in the year of the dragon. I am a water dragon, unless they change it on me. So, all of my classmates are water dragons. We're all dragons. The whole 1970s crowd were dragons, basically. And strong headed bunch of folk, and yep. So, but I was the black sheep of the family. I got thrown in jail. I did the bad stuff. And I screwed my life up early. But yeah, I did that. But I learned a bunch of lessons while I was in jail. Um, I learned about cooking. I learned about stockroom stuff, which I sort of already knew some stuff. My grandpa had taught me that. Um, I learned the art of smooth talking. Yes, sir, officer. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, officer. No, sir, officer. I'm sorry, officer. And what is that you wanted? I will be happy to make you a sandwich, Lieutenant. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Sit right there and I'll be back. Would you like mayo on that, sir? You say, well, Dave, what the hell is that? I didn't have to sweet talk them, but I did have to respect them. And in a way, I learned how to sweet talk them as they wanted me to wait on them. You know, I was the good waiter. Okay. I didn't have to do any, sucking or jiving or nothing like that. Nope. Didn't have to bend over for nobody. Nope. I just, you know, I was the perfect butler. And when it came time, I got busted by one of the guards on Monday. He woke me up at like 1:30 in the morning and said, no, get up. You're going to go down and empty the garbage. Now, I am at the time in charge of cutting up everything in the kitchen to feed 600 people 3 times a day, right? And he wakes me and says, "You're going to go down and empty the garbage." I said, "No, I'm not. I go, leave me alone. I'm going back to sleep. I got to get up in 2 hours and cut meat all day and chop, And so he said, "Get up," and I said no, and that was that. I was busted to population because you can't deny anything that one of the guards asks you to do. It's like, and so the lieutenant downstairs was like, "Why didn't you just say okay and come down here and then tell me that and bitch at me? I've been looking for a reason to bust this guy, for being a bad officer and a pain in the butt." And so I'm like, "Well, but oh well." So they took me down the first floor and they took me back to population, and I got a night's sleep. I got a whole night's sleep. I slept till in the morning because I didn't have to get up. I didn't have to cut meat. I didn't have to chop potatoes. I didn't have to, holy crap. Now, I had volunteered to do that job, mind you. But 2 days later, coming down the hall, "No, where are you?" It was Sergeant Castleberry. He had come to take me home, you know, because I had made myself so valuable. And they 2 days, on the third day, it was like I was risen from the grave. Of a Lazarus. That's an odd thing, but I'm telling you, on the third day, man, they brought me out of the depths. And the depths of despair. I was like, I got busted now. What the hell am I going to do? Son of a bitch, I got 4 more months and I got to do it in population. No, it was one of those things. So, but anyway, in all of this, I learned how to work with people. I learned that tone of voice was everything. I learned that I could manipulate people mainly by calming them down. I also had a sharp tongue and I could piss them off in a heartbeat. So I was usually pissing people off before I calmed them down. There goes the ball. What? No, I don't know that. Oops, sorry. It's chocolate. So moving right along, I've used that skill in different ways. My being, incarcerated kept me from many jobs. So I had to take low level jobs, which in my lifetime really sucked. Could move up to the supervisor because I had a record. I had, been arrested for drugs, narcotics, and only had a little bit in the corner of a bag, but it was worth 20 years. That's enough. So they put me on probation, allowed me to come back to Georgia. I straightened out my life. And I was doing fine. I bought this piece of property. I've been here 42 years. I was doing fine until I was growing some weed in my backyard. And at the time, I think it's still illegal to grow it here. But then it was really illegal. And they flew around my place one day with a Huey. And with a guy sitting in the window, the doorway, with the AK-47 or something, high-powered rifle, okay? And they spotted my 6, it might have been 8 buckets of marijuana that was growing up literally about this tall in them buckets out in the middle of a briar patch. I mean it, a briar patch. I had to duck down and crawl under to get into where they was, which really pissed off the GBI. So, the helicopter come back and he's calling out the thing, don't move or we'll shoot you. And I'm like, I don't have a gun, because they wouldn't let me have a gun because of when they busted me the first time, right? So it's like, I don't have a gun. I'm standing down here in the middle of a briar patch. Please don't throw me in this briar patch, Brer Wolf. And so that helicopter moved around to do something. They had to go up or something anyway. I turned around and started stripping them plants in them buckets. And so when they swung back around, I was still standing there with my hands up. And these GBI guys literally crashed through the they got tore up in them brambles. Let me tell you, it was thick. It was like 2.5, 3 feet thick, full of nothing but blackberry brambles, and they had to get through it to get me. That's the only thing I could laugh about. But anyway, so they arrested me, prosecuted me, and all that good stuff. And so now I have 2 felonies, for growing a little bit of herb. So they got me for just over an ounce of marijuana possession, because the governor found out what they did. The governor, of course, it was all over the Georgia news. And the governor found out that there had been this Huey helicopter hovering over my place, hovering over me for a while. You know how much gasoline one of them things costs, And here's this lonely little hippie in South Georgia with a bag of weed. And he's like, I don't want to hear none of it. You hear me? None. So when it came time for me to go to court, it was like, come right on in, Mr. No. What do you want to do, Mr. No? Pleading guilty to the case, and the DA up there was like, don't say nothing. And I knew the DA because we had smoked weed and done cocaine way back in the day, but he's now the DA up there, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? He's going like this. Hey, what's the matter? Hey, how you doing, buddy? And then there's another attorney over there, and I'm like, oh, it's nice to see you too. I'd snorted coke with him and smoked a bunch of reefer with him. I think I bought a bag or 2. Hey, Okie, how you doing? So there are people on the court, lawyers and stuff. And I'm the guy that's busted, waving at them like, I remember you. We used to smoke weed. No, don't do that. Shh, quiet. So, but anyway, I got my probation, and I did it standing on my head, as they say, so which has led me up to here. So as I have done my probation, I went even more into cleaning up my act. I actually got a job that they didn't ask whether or not I had a drug conviction, right? So Then I went to work as an engineer for hire and did not ask on the questionnaire, have you ever or do you currently smoke weed? Or have you ever been prosecuted and arrested and convicted of such weed and or some crystalline things that you could snort up your nose? Nowhere on the application did it have that. So I was able to work for several years as an engineering consultant, and I did real well. The company liked me. I liked me. I was making decent money. Nobody asked any questions about whether or not I smoked weed. And then I knew my job really well, and they kept firing people to the point where nobody else knew what I was doing because they were lost their job for whatever reason, hired, fired, or whatever. But then they said, well, Dave, now you're going to take over their responsibilities. Do you know what they're doing and all? And the answer was yes. Most of the time I did. And some of the time I did not. And they were going to, well, you're going to learn it anyway because you know how to do this program, which is really similar to this one. And you're already got this going on. So, no big deal, right? Okay. So now I'm in charge of all of these files. I mean, all of these files, and oh, is it time? No, but we can make time, right? So, and then come the time when they sent our jobs to Mexico. And then I went through a really bad time because I left making, 35,000 a year, which ain't a lot, but I was really happy and to nothing. And then my health went south. And then so did my pride. And so did my own personal humanity. I lost it all. I lost it. Who am I? What? I lost my dignity. I didn't know who I was or what I was. What am I supposed to do? By this time I'm 61 years old. I'm trying to get disability, which I finally got. And then I turned 62, and early retirement. But so there was the fight with the government to get disability because I seriously had a disability with my back. It's fused together, the whole lumbar. And, this government judge, he's like one of these liberals that Trump's having trouble with, right? And every time I went before this son of a bitch, well, you blah, 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 such and such and such, a denied. And I was like, damn, man. Switched to another judge, and he looked at my case and said, how come you haven't been bona fide disabled? You should have been disabled. This should have been approved 2 years ago. And I'm like, well, thank you, Jesus. Okay. So now I have an income, and now I can try to regain my sense of who I am. And so during that, I was having an existential crisis. I said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to fix it. I literally was just in a pair of shorts, no shoes, no nothing, no shirt. My hair was pretty short at the time and maybe a beard. And out in the yard, I went up there on the hill and I prostrated myself on the ground. And I said, Lord Jesus, I need help. I can't do this. I don't know how to get out of this mess. Please, Jesus, I need help. And I had already been a warrior for Christ. But at that moment, again, as I'm laid out there, spread eagle face down on the ground with Mother Earth facing east, took a deep breath and said, I will forever be a warrior for Christ. Now, this is before I knew about Dante, okay? I knew something was up, and I knew somehow that Mother Mary was in the background because I kept getting this flash of when I was a kid. And I kept getting this flash of her standing just over there, you know. And she's like, you know, I got something I want you to do when you get older. And I want you to know that I'm going to call on you. And I'm like, for what? Is this like a class test? Because I'm 11 years old, right? I don't know what's going on. I'm looking and I'm thinking, but, and she's like, you know, I, I, I'm going to request you to do something. And it chilled my bones where people are going to hate you. They are going to call you a blasphemer because I want you to tell about the faith without the Bible. I'm going to have you do something. And, you know, and I'm like, oh boy, at 11. So now skip forward again. And so here I am, prostrate on the ground. And I hear this, get up. It ain't doing you no good to be down there in the dirt like that. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, I believe in the Creator. Absolutely. I believe in the sun coming up in Aruba. Yeah, I believe in that too. But I believe in a deeper something. Okay. I did back then. Still do. Didn't know what, but I believed in something deeper because I had felt it when I read the gospel during Mass on Sundays. I felt something when I read the epistle. When I read the gospel, when I read from that book, I read with conviction, and there were people who told me, "Man, wow, man, you know how to read that thing," and I do, and I did. And so I thought I was going to be a priest. I'm skipping back a little ways, but then I found out the priest and our pastor, assistant pastor, and a couple of other priests they were all pedophiles, and yeah, they got a hold of me, and yeah, they screwed me up, and yeah, I hate the Catholic Church to this day. I do not like walking towards a priest. Just saying. Um, Give me the willies. But then when Mother Mary showed up and said, you know, it's time, and you have the gift because you know what it's like to get raped by a priest. You know what it's like for the clergy to turn on you, even when you know you feel the word of God. I feel it when I read. I felt it when I read it back then. And anytime I read the Bible, anytime I read anything, I can really get into it, and I read it with feeling, and I hope that the audience listening gets what I'm reading with feeling. And so here I am now, right? I am in Utrecht and Moorsport in a month. I do not even know where that is. But so Mother Mary said, it's time for you to wake up. I'm calling you to task. And what you're going to do is you're going to talk about religion without a Bible. What you talking about? You want me to teach religion without a Bible? That's right. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm asking questions up here like this. Ain't you Mother Mary? And the answer was like, yes. Uh, okay. So I had been learning, unbeknownst to me now, because I'd been going to Indian powwows and things because I just liked it. And then I found out that through my lineage and everything and my adoption and everything, that I actually had two generations of Cherokee uh, grandmothers, in my heritage. And I'm like, well, that kind of sort of makes me have Cherokee along the line. That gives me something. No wonder I feel so close to the earth. So, with Mother Mary's edict to me to teach religion without a Bible, I found myself learning about Native American cultures and how they are so close to the spirit. I mean, when they have a powwow, they have a special prayer that they say that's a Christian prayer. And then they also have a prayer that's their tribal prayer. So people say, well, those heathens, and, wait, hang on. Them heathens say Christian prayers all the time. Well, how can they do that? How can they be Christians and Native Americans? And, well, if you would shut up and listen, you might find out that they're closer to their religion than you are. Well, they dance around the fire, they got drums. Yeah, well, now in church, they got hula hoops and all kinds of noise and things, and they're clanging and banging and dancing. What's the difference? Well, they're Native Americans and you're a Catholic jumping around in the church, and dancing and singing. I've heard some of them songs and I've heard some of that hullabaloo. I do not want to belong to that. But I'm comfortable sitting here with my Native friends during a powwow to understand how humble these people are to dance before the Creator. to dance in their regalia, to dance as a prayer to the Creator. Well, they don't talk to God. Who do you think the Creator is? Well, the Creator ain't the same as God. What? Well, the Creator ain't the same as God. Why? Because Creator is not written in the Bible, but God is written in the Bible. But doesn't it mean He's the Creator of all things? Isn't it the one that yeah. Well, if He's the Creator of all things, then He's the Creator. No, that can't be. The Christian. It's got to be the Christian thing. It can't be the native thing. It can't be the the Creator can't be the same as God. But maybe it can. What are you all talking about? Things are boiling up in Europe. Seems the Crusaders gonna get activated. You know what now? We have been talking about this on our end. Me and Barry, Elder Barry, he's asleep right now, but he's been talking all about getting the Knights Templars going. I was mostly in. Okay. So then I began to understand why Mother Mary wanted me to teach religion without a Bible. So as I started learning myself and finding out that, oh my God, I'm a shaman in training. Holy crap. How did I get here? Now I'm a shaman in training. Well, but if Mother Mary's come back to me and does she want me to lean towards like where I left religion, like with the Catholics kind of thing? Do I have to go back? You know? Um, I really like these folks, with the native folks and, and the closeness to the Creator. And, if somebody was, I have performed ceremonies, several over the years, right? Ceremonies, no killing, no stabbing, no nothing, ceremonies. And everything was fine, everything went well, ceremonies, right? Like a mass. But if somebody was to say, I have learned these things, I studied with a real medicine man, like a real priest, and he signed off on me, in that he couldn't believe some of the stuff that I learned through the Akashic record. I learned many things. He was like, how do you know to put that? You have to, if you're going to do certain ceremonies, you have to lay your stuff out on your blanket, and just, everything's got its place on the blanket. It's no big deal, but everything does have its place on the blanket. Sage should go over here, and your if you have a flute, it should go up here, and if you have so there are things that you do. You make sure your drum is close and you're this and that, but there is a little bit of protocol. And so he was observing me for what I knew, and he saw me lay things out on the blanket so nice and neat. And he leaned into me and he goes, "Who taught you that?" "Nobody." "What do you mean, nobody?" I said, "Well, I prayed about it. I prayed for the Creator, for the Spirit, to show me where stuff went." And he shook his head. Now, he's a medicine man. He shook his head and he said, "You got everything right." He looked at the blanket, not a lot, but he said, "You got everything right. This could go over here, but no, you got everything right." He couldn't believe it. So the thing is, you can learn a lot from the Akashic record. I learned many things about my native heritage that taught me how to lay certain things out for a ceremony without anybody telling me. The Spirit told me and spoke to me. "Dave, that goes over there. Dave, that goes over there. Hawkeye, put that down and put it down over there." "Well, okay." I have been yelled at before. So then I start doing, this live stream and chatting with y'all and understanding certain stuff. And now have started to watch Dante. And I've watched Dante for a little while when Mother Mary and them showed up here. So, but since that point, here I am doing videos. I'm watching, I'm learning, I'm listening to Dante, I'm watching the Charistus. I know that I don't want to be nothing else. You can't pay me to work for them other folks. And I am willing and gladly give my time and my life and my heart to the Charistus, because that's really where my heart is. I believe in that Christ in us. And from what I know now, if it changes, but at the moment, they got me hook, line, and sinker because of the Catholic community, that where I learned about the Christ, Jesus, yes, but the Christ, okay? The Christ figurehead that, yeah, Jesus died on the cross. That's true, but the Christ lives on. And so it was like, Mother Mary told me this, which was really weird. She said, "You got to take Jesus off the cross." What? You got to take Jesus off the cross. You can't be serious. Oh, it's a 20. You can't be serious. You want me to take Jesus off the cross? Yep. And she said to me, for the last 2,000 years, he's been hanging on crosses all over the world. He died for the sins of mankind, and he suffered. And yes, he rose again, but for every cross that goes around and for every crucifix in the church that has blood dripping from his wounds, as a mother, I cannot stand to see him being tortured. Jesus, she said, Jesus, my son, has been tortured enough tears. It was explicit. Take him down off the cross. You know, bang, bang, bang. Take him down off the cross. Yeah, but everybody, Jesus, he's down crying and the thing, take him down off the cross. It's your job. You want to know what you're doing here, Dave? Okay. You are here to teach about God without a Bible and take my son Jesus off the cross. That's your job. Are you paying attention? Okay. Jesus died on the cross. It's a historical fact. What? And he rose back. Till I know, no prophet did that. So that means he was more than a prophet by the numbers. I can say God in human form. Yep. Okay, go away. Oh well. So, an interesting part of that. So, by teaching about a religion, I guess. No, what a philosophy. Anyway, I'm going to stick with the word religion at the moment, but that's really not the correct word to use. But for everybody, as a Catholic, it would be, I've lost my religion and I'm seeking to find it. And this is what I have found for a new religion. The only thing now is I know who was really on the cross. Verse 2, right. So that is important in and of itself, okay? But Mother Mary's task for me was that too many people are dwelling on the sacrifice and the pain. Oh, the sacrifice and the pain is like, okay, shut up. Because they're not just taking the words, they're reliving and putting emphasis or energy into the pain. He suffered terrible. He was weak. He was chained. He was, and so the people are saying these things, but they're reliving it. They're trying to feel what Jesus felt. And it's like, stop it. So Mother Mary, in her wisdom, infinite wisdom, she's like, no, stop it. We all understand he suffered. Okay. But he walked around, he did all these other things, he spent a little bit of time on the cross, but that's all everybody talks about. She's like, nah, they're forgetting. They're not listening to what he said. because all they can do is focus on his suffering. And I was like, holy shit. Really? Now, think about that. The only thing the Christians can do is focus on the pain. They've got to focus on the terrible thing. He died for our sins. He suffered. We tormented. Okay. He hung on the cross. All right. But what did he do when he got down? Well, he got down and he went somewhere and did what? Well, he saw the apostles later on and did something. Yeah. And then what? I don't know. Wasn't there a dove or something that in the picture, later on in the Bible? Do you even have a clue as to what is going on? Now, not only is the entity of Jesus a reincarnation being, a reincarnated being. What did I say? Never mind. Reincarnated. Here to be there for that job at that time. The four brothers are there. Azazel is there. Michael is there. This has all been predetermined, right? They've got their jobs to do. I know I have been through extreme pain for days, when they opened up my back and found out I had blood clots and I had to lay there for a week in a bed, packed with ice. Couldn't get up, couldn't go anywhere. Constant pain. It was, golly, I don't want to do that again. It hurt. And I don't mean a little bit now, y'all. So if somebody says, well, you don't know what it feels, shut up. I suffered for 8 days. Don't you tell me I don't know what suffering is. You shut up. I got a scar on my back that's this long. And that proves that I had mine. You got one? Where's your scar? I'm waiting. No, I'm not the only one that's ever got a scar, and I'm not the only one that's ever had pain. But them 7 days that I had to wait to be able to be operated on, because operating rooms have to be shuffled and there are schedules. And so I don't know what it's like to hang on a cross, but I know what it's like to have my back laid open and have to be like that for a week with ice packing for my pain. And then 2 or 3 days after another operation, but hell yeah, I know what it feels like. Doesn't make me special. What it does for me is it helps me to understand what it's all about. What does it feel like to be in that kind of pain? Well, I sort of volunteered for it. I said, I want you to fix my back. I didn't know it was going to end up the way it did. I did not sign up for that part of the back surgery. It the surgery didn't go bad, but a blood clot came about after they sewed me up. I developed a hematoma. Oh shit. So I had to wait. But in that meantime, I absolutely know what excruciating pain is. Okay. It's in my lower back and anything. You don't know what it's like to feel it like over here. Okay. All right. It's okay. Creator knows what I went through. My Akashic record put a bunch of information in that Akashic record while I was in the hospital. There's a bunch of information that went in there while I was going through there. My own Akashic record, my own consciousness, recording all of that pain and all of that agony and all of that, frustration. Fast forward to now, my job is to teach people things about nature, things about themselves, and by using the animal cards that was provided to me by a person who was in touch in her own way, and allowed them cards to come my way, and those cards have been a great help. And folks say, well, how do well, Dave, you're using animal cards to preach to people. Nah. I pulled the eagle card, the finest of, all winged critters for the North American natives and South American too, but and their feathers are prized, and the medicine that comes with the feathers, and the medicine men have learned to use the feathers to heal others, and so there is a long history of native healings to other natives and other folk too, but going back over the many years, right? Going back in history, they were healing each other, and the shamans and the medicine people were healing the sick using eagle feathers. And it's like, do you really have a problem with that? Well, I don't know. The priest, he's up there, behind the altar, and he's mumbo jumbo. En nomen Domini Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. That's part of the Mass. So nobody out there in the audience knows what the hell he's talking about. And he's up there with this piece of bread or something. He's got this book open, and he's holding up his hands, and he's doing this Dominus Vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo oremus. Those are real words and a real tune. And so which sounds weirder? The guy in the church behind the thing, holding the thing and doing the thing, and oremus, or a shaman who is singing quietly, hey, 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 and it's got a sacred feather. Here, I got one. Here's the sacred feather. There's one right here. I got another one too. Hang on. Uh, wait. Oh, come on. Oh, drat. Where's my woodpecker feather? Oh, no. Can't find my woodpecker feather is not right there. But these will do. So I bring out these feathers and I say, well, I want to say a prayer to the Creator. Oh yeah. Well, what would you do if you were in church? Well, if I was in church, they do have incense. Well, instead of using incense, I'm I'm going to light this pipe because as they understand the medicinal things that are in the pipe and they're smoked. The bowl is the male part and the stem the stem is the male part and the bowl is the women's part, and together they make a pipe, and we're going to light it and smoke it and send the smoke up to the heavens. And I'm going to use this feather to help bring my prayers up with the smoke of my pipe. And if I'm smoking with someone, then we are offering prayers. When we smoke the pipe and spread the smoke. So y'all out there, you know what to do. 20 times. We're actually way late. But it's the thought that counts, right? Honestly, it's the thought that counts. With the morning sun coming up, the light of dawn, I send these prayers of peace to the universe. And so there's a prayer, there was a ceremony. Oh my goodness, and you participated because you watched. You say, well, wait a minute now, Dave. You didn't ask me if I wanted to partake. No, but I drug you in anyway. Now, that's not necessarily nice, right? Now, honestly, I did the ceremony. I took a small hit of the bowl and I sent my prayers up with the smoke. You just wanted to get high, didn't you? No, 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 now calm down. Calm down. Seriously, this time I was pushing dreams with the smoke with the pipe this time. Because now that Dante sent me my own video, something has changed inside of me. last Tuesday, oh crap, it'd be a week ago, when we got that really big, hard, nasty East Coast over to, the Western Mountains, was that serious radiation and stuff that came in from somewhere else. It clobbered us. And I felt it. I didn't know that it had clobbered us. I already felt it that Tuesday. And then I went and looked on the listening test to step on, and I was like, son of a bitch, they just got clobbered. So, but I actually felt something. There was like a click, a thunk. And also, I think I reported, I'm going to report now, these two fingers on this hand, these two fingers of this hand, they started acting weird. I mean, jumping. I was like I'd be holding on to this jug, and all of a sudden I'd go flip, and my fingers would want to throw it out of my hand. And no warning, just, oh crap, there it goes. Dropped cigarettes on me, down in me, all around. Thought I was going to burn the house down because I couldn't hold on to a cigarette. I couldn't hold on to anything. This cigarette was the one that was going to burn me. Everything else was like, bam. I've lost pills on the floor. I can't find them. I mean, I was sitting here going, oh, damn, dropped the pill. It happens. Looked down, saw it, went to go get it. It ain't there. It is not there. It has gone into another dimension. All right. So there are weird things that happen to me all the time. And I'm not sure how those things are related, because I have had people who performed witchcraft against me. They were wishing really bad things to happen to me. They were wishing evil, maniacal things to happen to me. I didn't know it. And then I found out. But they were doing it long before I found out. You know what I mean? If I'd found out before they started, maybe I could have done something, but they had already gone into a litany of stuff. Of course, they wouldn't tell me what they had done, what spells or conjures or whatever at the time. So over the years, I feel like I have had some pests left behind. There are times when it seems like I have seen them. Now, finding out that Dante left me a Dos Equis moment tape. This is hour 2 and 18. I'm still sitting in the house. So it's starting to get light here on the East Coast, here in South Georgia. And all I have been able to do since I found the video and watched the whole group there. See, there went a lighter. And watched the whole group there. I went straight outside, like I said, with tears in my eyes. And I kept saying, I love you. 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 And at about that time, my voice started to crack. And I was crying. And I kept saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. Synchronicity is everything, right? So, over the last few days, this last week, as I'm learning about things, I have finally listened to the Ross Coulthart interview about the tapes. And I have worked with mental health children. Who's a Katniss? Hey, whoa! Who's on here? Witch Moon. Good morning. I've just completed a course in Tantra. Planning on going to India next year for a month. Oh, that'd be cool. Also studying what? Ayurveda and herbalism. That's groovy. Oh, stop it. My fingers are so clumsy. I have touched things and I don't believe I had a finger or digit anywhere near the damn thing. But anyway, so good morning, y'all. So to catch you all up, Witch Moon and Katniss, I found a video on the internet that was directed to me, had my name in the title, Hawkeye Two Feathers, from Dante. I love you. That's what I know. I love you. That's I've always said before I knew about Dante and the Charistus group. Folks had told me I was Palladian. I've been telling this story for the whole time. I'd wake up with my arms in the window looking up, and there would be Pleiades sitting there in the sky. And I'd be like, what am I doing up with my arms leaning on the windowsill? So I've had incidents like that. And the 3 years that before I was adopted, I got a lot of weird memories of some weird stuff. And it took me years to try to clear my head of the nightmares that I had of long dark halls, and I would be crawling, try to get away, and there would be something, large and looming that was chasing me every time. And I would have this dream, and it wasn't just a dream, it terrified me. I had this dream for years. Years. So not only did I go through all of the other happy shit, I had one dream that was a night terror that was holy terror. I mean, never was the time that this was the dream where the dream was a light version. Every dream with this subject of the thing and the Jesus got ah, wake up. Oh, sweating and the whole 9 yards, and it never ended good, you know. So I don't have those dreams anymore. I I don't know if the good Lord planned those for me to have them dreams, just so I could learn from them, to not be, if I was terrified of something that I needed to stop, which is true. I needed to stop and look, and this is how I cured myself. I had to stop and look at So I had the dream. So what terrified you? What part of the dream was the terror? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, shut up. Calm down. Let's look at the dream. And you tell me, Dave, I don't know what to. I don't know what to. I guess it was hard to look at. And this part of the dream, it was all scary, but this part was the scariest. Okay. So let's work on that part of the dream. What in there is scaring you? And I did this. I did this internal work myself. Now I'm not trying to be braggart or anything, but when I was threw myself prone on the ground and said, "Lord help me," I, I got to. And then the three sisters came and saw me, Mother Mary and Sister Lucia from the. She was one of the girls who was at Fatima, and of course my favorite, Sister Helene, that I've talked about. And them three ladies appeared right over there, about 15 feet from me, and just Mother Mary, Sister Helene, um, yeah, Sister on the end. But anyway, so to see that here in my house, to have had the visual of Mother Mary out in the field when I was 11, to now see it in my house with this mental impression of, do you understand what I'm talking about, son? Yes, ma'am. I sure do. And, a lot of stuff was learned that day. I only saw them for a bit, but being able to see them, then the memory there's still stuff going on, right? It's not that they left me and they ain't talking. No, they still in the room. They're just not spending energy on trying to be here for me to look at them, right? So they're in my head. I can hear them clear. And they're giving me instructions and helping me to change my mind. And Sister Helene has always been one to be able to logically put things in a way that people could understand, and especially me as an engineer. And so to be able to listen to her with Mother Mary's instructions, and I'm like, well, I got this, you know, well, I got this. And so Sister on the end, she's the one that is like, you got this, but you got to do it with finesse. You might be, teaching people about decent things, and you're not using the Bible, and you're not thumping them over the head with it, Dave. That's good. You're trying to be, open to this and that. Okie dokie. And so how's that working for you? I don't know. I know people and some teenagers that growed up that I've known now, and they respect me more than their own grandparents, and they love me for who I am, and like to come see me, and just because they like to come visit me, just because they like to hang out with me. Ain't that strange? So oh, holy crap, really? So when I think I'm not making a difference, when I think that I'm just sitting here down here with Duggar, nothing's going on, nothing that, then I get to spend time with Miss Emma, whose birthday is on the 11th, by the way. What a shame. But she will be 17 and she is absolutely gorgeous inside and out. Oh, she's a lovely lady, a good sense of humor. And she's been around Mr. Dave over the years. So she's got that working for her. Not, but so Dante, if you watch this video, I love you, son. I do. And when I say son, from us Southerners down here, I love you, son. By God, we've been through the war together and we've been through hard times together and we shall overcome together. And, some of that South Georgia old timey preaching, you know, give thanks to the Lord. Amen. All ye repent. Yep. There's a tent set on the side of the road. People have pulled over. Honest to God. They still have those things around here. And the preacher gets out and welcomes the crowd. Come on in. And so, he needs some money. So y'all please pay the man for his services. But being that I've been down here for the last 55 years, well, 60 years really. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and raised in Dayton for a while, and a spell in Troy, Ohio, where I remember at the age of 4 or 5 being able to pedal a girl's bike, 16-inch bike, because it didn't have the bar in the middle. And I don't know whose bike I was riding, but I remember riding all over this neighborhood. I can see our house. I can see the sidewalk where we played. There was right up here to the corner, and to the left it went this way, and it went, and I remember that. I still see it. I see it, children, on the sidewalk playing with me. That was a long time ago. So, memory is a fickle thing. It's there all the time. Dave, what do you mean? Well, I've been watching these programs about, conversation about our consciousness. And I've had this conversation with y'all a long time ago about consciousness, and about your subconscious is always listening to your consciousness. And no matter what, no matter how you want to phrase it, no matter what you do, you can't help it. Your subconscious is recording everything, even when you're asleep, because the subconscious is the conscious that has to run everything when you're asleep. So you say, well, no, that don't matter. The hell it don't. That subconscious, he got to run all the time. He don't get no break. So we got to be careful. And in our meditation and things, we need to remember that our subconscious is always on. Well, Dave, it doesn't matter. Your subconscious is always on. So there are things that I did 25, 30 years ago or further back that all of a sudden I'm sleeping and thinking, holy crap, I remember that shit. Whoa. And you go, that was real. And sitting in the bed, you get pulled out, you're standing up, you're trying to figure out, God almighty, it, I was minding my own business and out from nowhere, ding. Yeah, wait till that happens to you. And I think Dante sort of alluded to it, and I was like, yeah, I understand that one. And going for a walk, I absolutely, problem is I can't walk very good. With my bad back and my short leg, walking is one of them things I have trouble with. But what I'm trying to do is get back on the water to paddle. I can paddle and go places, which, in my humble opinion, since I can't walk, my brother did leave me a scooter to get around on, but that ain't the same. I would love to walk. I'd love to go back up in the Appalachian. There are a couple of places on the Appalachian Trail. I would love to climb back to the top of Trey Mountain in North Georgia. It's a long way up, that some bitch. But I'll tell you what, you talk about one pretty view, and Tennessee is like right over there, and North Carolina is like right over there, and Georgia is right behind you. It is one hell of a pretty sight. I mean, you up there too. Like, it's about 4,800 feet at least, and the top of the mountain is cleared off some. It's not a baldy mountain. Well, the last time I was there, they had small trees on it. So, but anyway, you go up there. There's a survey marker, and but the chipmunks and the wildlife just sitting up there, and if you're quiet, and if you bring a good energy with you, and all the critters up there feel it, man, they'll put on a show for you. I ain't lying. One of the best birds dive bombing and chipmunks playing and rabbits running, and I mean all kinds of stuff. Hawk come through, man. Oh, actually, two hawks. So, and they played in the sky. So, what does that mean? Because it all that day of the hawks on Trey Mountain was one of those points where I spoke with God. I spoke to the Great Spirit because I was right on that edge of being a Christian still. Well, I'm still a Christian in a way. But that I was, I was hearing the native drum in my head that was saying, you need to go up this mountain and you need to you need to talk to the creator. You got some issues, and the issues are you don't know what to do about them. And you want to do better. You want guidance. So for any of you out there that are looking for guidance, then well, go find a hill at least if you can, or maybe just an open spot. And if you're in the woods or jungle or swamp, um, find a sandbar. I know I'm joking, but I have camped on sandbars. So are you serious about changing? Are you serious about, you know, about working for the Lord, so to speak? I'm not going to hold you to it. It's up to you. But that day and several days since, and still to this day, I am a warrior for Christ. I got my sword and my shield. And I remember sending Dante a message years ago. He had showed a sequence in a movie, and he said, "See this here? We I was there, and we had some folks, and we ran up these stairs, and we da da da." And I was like, I could feel myself running up the stairs. I mean, I was like sitting in a chair and got pushed to the TV way back then, and I could smell it, I could taste it, I could feel the steps, I could feel the blade because I've held swords in my life before and also some shields. So I was like, what? And he was talking about that battle and something something, and the whole time I was just I didn't know what to do. I was in it. Now I've watched a bunch of stuff, and I've listened to. Back then, I listened to a lot of things that he uh, sort of narrated, and but that one, and I don't think I did very good with the email, but I was sending him enough psychic vibes. He should have picked up on that one. I was like, man, holy crap! And I've talked about it several times too here on my channel, about how I just swear to God, I don't know for sure, but I swear to God I was in that battle. That's all I know. So anyway, I don't know. I would love to find out if because it felt like there was other battles as well. I have my friend Elderberry, right? In the chat room, and who's our one of the monitors. Um he feels too. The other day he's like, it's time for the Templars. It's time for the Templars. I was like, dude, just almost, and then 2 or 3 days later, everybody else is talking about Templars. I'm like, what the hell? Did you? Here's the thing. And I've also been listening and watching about consciousness, right? And so, and I talked to y'all about the consciousness. We're all glued, we're all in this goo together, right? And that our impressions are absorbed by the global consciousness. Not a big deal, but it does. And so what we say or do affects us all in different ways down the line. It just does. Okay. A lot of times it ain't nothing but a poof. But sometimes when an alien points their gun at you, you just go poof. Hmm. Anyway, and I've seen one of them spaceships go poof at time too, boy. So at this place in time, I have an affinity to want to be with the Charistas group. I don't know anyone around here that belongs, or I'd go visit, I'd go hang out, but I'm in South Georgia. Don't know anybody. If you know somebody, let me know. Let them get in touch with me. I'm easy to find. It's almost the 20. This is my DS-AHK. I can't drink alcohol because of my heart medicine. But this is my DS-AHK. Blessings to the universe. So, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. Oh my goodness. I didn't know what I was going to say. I still don't know what I'm supposed to say, except that I've always had a feeling about certain things, and to find out that there was a video out there months ago with my name on it. But now, just recently, the video about the walk, at my age, turning into 73, there's a lot of things about that long walk. That long walk home. And for me, it's like, here's my home, but when I go outside to walk, I want to walk towards home. And it ain't here. It's, I want to walk. And I want to feel the walk. I want to feel the journey of the walk, but I can't walk. So I gotta get the canoe fixed, and I gotta go watering again. I gotta go down the rivers again. But so my blessing, and my prayer back to you, my brother. I hope you Dante, I know you, if you watch this, I hope you know how much I'm really serious about this. I'm not joking. you know, I have wanted to be a 72 ever since I found out about it. How can I devote my life? I wanted to be a priest so bad. And it was like, no. But I had a rough start. And I'm 72 for another few days. And never to be 72 again, which is okay. But it has been a privilege for the last 12 months to be a 72. And of course, we are the 72 plus plus. We're the 72 extra. We're the bench warmers. We're the second shift. We are the people who do believe with our hearts. I stood outside and beat my chest because it's the only thing I knew to do, to tell you that I love you. It's a privilege to hear all of your stories and wisdom. I don't know if it's wisdom, but thank you. The thing is, oh crap, come back here. The thing is, as a shaman in training, wait, come back here. I got to start checking the phone when I hear it go off. Okay, been popping up at random early hours. Yeah, and I can't help it. After I found this out this morning, it was late last night. I sat here and just, okay. It's obviously a message. It's got my name on it. I don't know of anybody else that's Hawkeye Two Feathers, on this tiny little channel with Charistus as one of the holy crap. This message is for me. Holy shit. More than I ever expected because I just wanted to be part of the clan. I just want to be part of the tribe. I just you know, I want to run with the um speaking in Native American terms, and I want to I run I have ran with a wolf and my little dog and a couple of others. I have run with a wolf here on my property, down on the river. I have run with a wolf. I know what it feels like for the stride and the beauty of that, how that wolf just she was, Duggar's a little similar, but he's not the wolf. Wolf is bigger. Um, but also the wolf almost died. Sarah almost died. And I took her down to the river where she wanted to go. She found her own spot. And I put a blanket under her, moved her around, and got her on a blanket. And it was right next door to where I had done the ceremony, which was convenient. And so it was about, late afternoon, 3:30, and she's just moaning, whoa, 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 and I'm laying up next to her, and it's hot. I remember how hot it was. And furry, and I laid up next to her and just stroked her, just real light. And I said, to the spirits of the woods, here's one of your sick animals. She needs your help. And to the Creator, I'm asking to help. And I just, all night long, I mean, 10 hours. And we early in the morning, just like it is about now, where it's just getting light good, she wiggled around and looked at me dead in the eye and give me a big old lick and jumped up and hauled ass to the house. A couple of hours ago, this dog I thought was dead had quit breathing. Honest to God, thought the thing had quit breathing. And I had my crystals, I had my prayers, I was burning sage, I kept petting her and kept, being, talking soothing to her. And I kept saying, you know, um, I kept saying to her, you got two choices. You can stay here and run the creek, or you can go on. And it's all right if you do either one, but you can't do both. And I kept stroking her and I kept stroking her. And you got to get better or you got to quit, or you got to run on. And all of a sudden she jumped up and gave me a lick and run to the house. I and my little dog, poodle dog, she was like, it was great. So that reunion was great. And the fact that somehow my shamanism saved that wolf, because the the shaman medicine man who taught me gave up. He said, I don't know what to do. And I said, let me take, let me just, let me do it. And I did. And the wolf recovered. And then when she got better, there was an owl that was sitting in the tree overhead that went, whoo, whoo. I about crap my pants, but it was like, good job, medicine, and with the otter in the river, okie dokie, thank you very much. It's like all the critters in a Dr. Doolittle thing are like, good job, Uncle Dave, Um, so for me, that is what has kept me leaning to how and what I believe in now. Because when I saw that wolf got up and ran to the house, I looked up and said, did I do that? Does everybody else give up? Did I do that? And I mean, there's a tear in the back of my eyes that are like that sincere feeling you have when bringing something back to life, barely breathing. I mean, I was working, pushing on the chest, like, okay, are you breathing or not, and listening in all night long, man. Praying, holding her, rubbing her head and her fur and stroking her. And she got up and ran to the house in the morning, about this time of day. So I like the idea of being a shaman. If that's what it means that I can do. If being a shaman means that I can hold anything, but that was a wolf, honestly. It was the shaman, it was the medicine man's wolf that was sick. And so he was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, give me a try. And all of it was prayer. I mean, I burned some sage. I sprinkled some water. I used a feather. Uh, I had my crystals around us. But to have a wolf so sick that it quit breathing, and then 2 hours later get up and run to the house like nothing had happened, I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. It's been about a good 10 years ago, at least. I still don't believe it, you know? But anyway, so for me to have Dante acknowledge that, you know, he has seen a video of mine, Hi. Um, I know I get long winded, but I have taken a tip from you, Brother Dante. In one of your videos, you said, there's got to be some folks out there that will do their own video and talk about this and give them, the history of things. And so I end up, that's sort of what I've been doing. But it's okay. I like it. And I'm a good storyteller. And the part is that I am telling a story or stories plural, but I'm not making any of them up. They're all true or real or whatever, but I'm not making any of them up. Somebody say, "Well, that sounds fake." Okay, I know I have been some places where some unbelievable things happen to me, and I just go, "Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate the universe, and thank you, Creator." That's why I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. If folks would just understand, just pay attention, but you got to believe. There have been times when I'm like, back in the day, I'm like, man, I know I believe in Jesus and I believe it. I don't know. I know now, it's like, I got this. I am a warrior for Christ. I have made my decision. Choose yours. I went to Tampa Catholic High School, so I've had training, you know. And in that, I had always felt that as a crusader, which was our mascot, um, defend the realm, defend, the the church, defend the Christ, defend. And so I still feel that way, you know. And then after seeing that video that time with when Dante talking about going up the stairs and running across the ramparts, and I was like, holy crap! And the guns were going off, and I could smell the gunpowder, and he was talking about it, and and the movie kept going, and I just ooh, see, I still get chills every time I replay that. So I don't know. A lot of other things that I feel in my bones that happened long ago, like when I went when I was doing the Vikings 10 years ago ish, and the sword master from FSU was like, "You've done this sort of thing before, haven't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, but not in this life." And he was like, "Me and him like to talk." Um, so there are things I know, there are things I want to know, and for me, I'm the person that is trying to figure out how to get my kayak on top of that Jeep out there, um, and whether or not I can use the lift for the for the chair to help me get it on there, so I can go to see my friend in Missouri, so he and I can go, so I can share with him when what who's that? Wait, come back here. I cannot read that. Where are the glasses? Oh, there's Witch Moon there. Hang on. When good dogs do bad things. Hi. I don't know if I said hi to you. I feel pressured to go to Christ. I've experienced some really fucked up things and myself upping up younger in life. Honey, trust me. I was a drug user, cocaine user, drunk, got busted twice, and yeah, shit. I'm struggling, meant to believe, but I'm stuck bad. I don't want to say this wrongly. You got this. All you got to do is make up your mind to do it. You got this. I was stuck so bad, I was almost naked out on the ground out here in my yard, spread eagle like this, saying, "Please help me, Jesus," and crying and weeping. And the message was, "Get up. You can't do nothing while you're stuck in the mud." So, you know what the answer is to a lot of stuff? And I'm not trying to be contrite about this or anything. It says but I'm stuck bad. Understood. So sit up while you're in the mud. You could take if it's real good mud, you can take that home and play with the clay and turn it into a bowl, fire it and use it for your kitchenware, so being stuck in the mud might not necessarily be a bad thing if it's good mud. Because I have done that and I have friends that do pottery. So, like, but what you say, well, all right, well, that's kind of funny, Dave, but how's it going to help me? It's going to help you in that if you got stuck, you can get unstuck. Sort of a rule of law. Got yourself in? Figure out how to get out. The trick is don't panic. And the next other trick is that if you don't know how or have any available help, is to ask for it. And one simple thing to do is go, "I need help." To the Creator and to all the spirits, I need help. I know I need help. I need help. You don't have to say any prayers. You don't have to bow to the east or bow to the west or bow anywhere else. You might want to sit down to yourself and make a promise and say, "I have got to do this. I've got to straighten myself out. I've got to make up my mind. I got to get out of this. I want out. I want change. I'm going to do it. I'm determined. I don't want this again. I don't want to get picked up for being drunk and disorderly. I don't want to get picked up for, snorting too much cocaine, in front of myself, bloodied out and laid down on the table with coke in my nose. Say, no, 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 no. And drunken and under the table and, and smelling that smell of the, no, 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 no. And no, 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 I don't snort it no more. I'm tired of waking up on the floor. No, thank you, please. It only makes me sneeze. And I'm tired of waking up on the floor. Hey, 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 yeah, dog is. So, but anyway, so when good things do bad, or wait, when good dogs do bad things. Oh, yeah, right. If there's a way to write anything that you might have done bad, the next thing is to just don't repeat it. I mean, one weekend I'd go out and I'd do shit, end up in Dothan, Alabama from South Georgia, wondering how in the fuck did I get there? Snorted a half a bag of cocaine, got picked up on the highway. This guy has a bag of cocaine. He says, "I'll drive you anywhere you want to go. I got the company car." And off we went. The next thing I knew, we were in Dothan, Alabama. you know, I'm like, now how am I going to get home? you know, well, I'll take you back to Georgia. He did. He put some. Now there, I drove a bunch that night too because he was passed out in the back. You know what I mean? Just like you're stuck bad. He was passed out in the back. So I swore the next weekend, no, I'm not getting ain't gonna get entire and intertwined with none of that shit. No, gonna be good. What we do? Go to Tallahassee. We went to Tallahassee, and this guy was in a wreck, and I pulled over, buddy, you need help? Yeah. And he looks both ways and he leans in. He goes, do you snort cocaine? I went, mm-hmm. He said, good. He opened up the door and he's got this big gallon plastic bag that's halfway full of what turns out to be cocaine. And he's like, man, he says, we've gotten an accident here and I need to get this off the scene of the crime. Can you give me a ride around the corner? Or I'll cut you out some. I was like, I didn't have no coke, so I'd be happy for the bump, right? And so come on in, and I drove off. No cop cars, no nothing. His buddy's passed out in a car, not dead or nothing. He's just passed out drunk. I didn't know that they had come from up above. They had missed a turn in downtown Tallahassee there just off the express there. It comes in and makes a turn and then goes, because Tallahassee's got some hills and curves. And so this was an underpass and that we were at. And so the car was sitting under the overpass, the thing. I didn't find out until about an hour and a half later that they had sailed off that road up there, and landed out in the park that is in between the two roads. Oh my God. One way this way, one way this way. And they had jumped off of the holy crap of the bag. I got free cocaine. So sometimes all you have to do, and I wasn't looking for nothing. Okay. So what is the point of my story in this is that I was just minding my own business, riding through, trying to stay off of the main drag in Tallahassee, driving down a side street just to avoid the traffic. Of course, it was 1:30 in the morning, but I still wanted to avoid any traffic because I had weed on me. And having been busted in Florida before for drugs, it's like, don't want to do this. So, but then when that guy said, do you like cocaine? Oh, yeah. So, point of the matter, and people say, I can't believe you're talking like this. Well, why not? I can't believe you're talking like this, Dave. Well, you're giving somebody the bad impression. Bad impression that, that you did this, you did all this cocaine and you're bragging about it and you had a good time and you did all these things. You found out the car leaped out from across the top of the second story of this, apartment complex and landed in the parking, and you picked up the guy with all of the cocaine from the party. Yeah. Okay. So didn't know that. I saw the situation and knew he needed a ride. And so now, does that make me a bad person? Well, one would say, and to him, he told me, he said, you have no idea how you've saved my life. If they had caught me, if they had caught us, if I had, et cetera, he said I would be dead. And it's true, because looking at that bag, there was at least 3/4 of an ounce in that bag. I would say more, but I'm going to try to be conservative. So that's why we was kind of snorting it really quick, like to get rid of the evidence, which I was happy to do at the time. But my point of that particular night, early morning, is that I was just taking a shortcut back to my friend's house where I was spending the night in Tallahassee. And there happened to be the accident. There happened to be the gentleman who looked like he required help. I pulled over as the Good Samaritan, as a Good Samaritan as I am, because I pulled over and helped a bunch of people over the years. And so he's like, fine. So what he decided to do with what he had on him should not really pertain at all to the story, right? Because I picked up this gentleman, obviously had an accident, obviously too inebriated. I know he'd be leaving the scene of the crime, but it wasn't my crime. But that there was a little blood, but not too much. But he just needed to get out of there. His circumstance happened to be a great big bag of cocaine. True. So now what? Do I get points? Because I asked the spirits before, do I get points for that? I honestly helped this person. I drove him around. He needed to see he had to go to a friend's house, something. I drove him to, not to the other side of the town, but it wasn't just 2 blocks away. It was down and around Appalachia Parkway and down over there. And so it was like, okay. At the moment, having snorted a bunch of cocaine, I had nothing else to do but to drive. So driving along my automobile. Woo! Trying to feel the way I feel. Yeah, buddy. Driving in my automobile. Ooh, wait. And then I see blue lights. Oh, shit. Blue lights. Oh, shit. Tallahassee Police Department. Oh, shit. Or, wait, I didn't know. Somebody wrote some more stuff. Who's that? I don't know. I'm trying to get stoned. Wait, come back here. Oh, Chloe. I got more faith than anyone I know, but couldn't tell you how I got it. I just realized, I guess one day, that the Creator has never let me down in the universe. Oh, stop it. Stop it. And the universe is what is working for me and not against me. They started getting tested in, then started getting tested in my faith. Yep. Stasis. Yeah, that's stasis business, you know? But the adage of been so low it looks like up to me. And for the shaman in training, which I did not realize I was in training till I started looking at things from the bottom up and saying, wait a minute, what have I learned from down here? What I have learned is I don't like it. What have I learned? I don't like it down here. Let me up. Get me up, doggy. You know, I want out of this thing. Okay. So, you gotta get out. How bad? Now, I don't mean this harshly, but have you ever been in a real hole trying to get out? And you say, well, Hawkeye, what's that got to do with it? Actually, a lot. Uh, when I got stuck on the river, um, for it was over 2.5 days with a little bit of water, and I was dehydrated that day. That hurt my kidneys that day when I think back on how little I had to drink and how hot it was. And then I got in this little hollow, a little holler in between a palmetto bush on either side of me and down in the sand. And I'm up on the bank of the big Oclockney River. And I had crawled up to the edge and looked over, and my little dog Sasha was down there lapping up some water at the river on the sandbar thing. And I was like, man, I want some of that there water. And I wished it, um, but I couldn't get to it. And so I covered myself with palm fronds while I was there. And Sasha come up and got up underneath there with me. And so, but I was in a depression, honest, it's at least this deep. It covered me, okay? I had to sit up and then look up to look out of this trench. And down in the bottom of the trench I was. So, and covered with palm fronds. So it's 102 in the shade. And I'm stuck. It's so hot. So I laid down and I heard the spirit say, you're going to have to wait it out. Because I was stuck on the river. I'd slipped in the mud and hurt my back, and I could barely stand up and move myself or get in the canoe. That was not an option. So the best thing for me to do was hold still until my back got help did something. So anyway, I'm laying there in that trench, moaning and groaning, wishing that I had a better back. And I'm slowly drifting off. I can't stand it. And I'm hearing in my voice this nice song, feminine sort of voice that says Hawkeye. Huh? Hawkeye? Yeah, Hawkeye. Uh-huh. Just just relax. Just relax. Take a nap. Oh, take a nap, huh? Yeah. Oh, what? And then for me, I was like, well, take a nap. What? Well, wait a minute. I'm laying in a ditch. Where's my dog? You know, and I lean up in my craziness and I look across the swamp there. That ain't a swamp at the moment, but still lots of trees. And so I look across there and there I go. I'm walking across this, I'm walking across this, there I go. And there's a spirit on either side, on either shoulder. And one of the spirits turned and said, "It's all right, lay down." It turned and looked at me. Okay, lay down. And it wasn't too far away, maybe 15 feet. So it was right there. And I was like, what? That's ain't that me? And me turned around and just looked at me and turned back around. And I went, laid down in the ditch and went to sleep. And woke up about midnight that night. So I'd slept. I was tired, itchy, got sand on me. Relatively speaking, I ain't got no bugs or spiders on me. Um, for sleeping in the ditch with palmettos all around me, you know, way down the river. I'm talking several miles down the river. Don't nobody know I'm down. The big Oclockney River with no water in the river. And there I am, me and my dog. And after that, I woke up, and the spirit was like, "Dave, you got to pay attention. You got to do better than this." Yeah, but I brought my stuff. I brought the canoe, and I did the. Yeah, but you dumbass, it's 102, and there's no water in the river. You, if you're supposed to be learning about stuff, what the hell are you doing trying to do this stupid shit? So lesson number one, don't do stupid shit like go down on a river with no water, slip and hurt yourself miles in the swamp. There's sort of upstream, and it's just sort of that way. Is it in between bridges? Uh-huh. Which two bridges? Oh, okay. Yeah, there'll be a while. you know, it's always, oh, yeah, it'll be a while. The Oclockney is a sometimes run river with a sandy bottom. And I would expect that if you could get up and down it more readily than you can now, that you would find some nifty stuff down in that sand. Artifacts of things, big giant things. And why do you say that, Dave? Well, it's because right near where all of this stuff is, where all the sand is here and south of me, that on either side of the Oclockney River, especially on the southwestern side, where it starts getting into the Withlacoochee River, where they have found prehistoric bones in several places. And I know friends up here who have gone and have found all kinds of stuff, just walking with their feet, when the river's low. And they take a tube and they go in, they spend the day and they go downriver. So, well, the Ochlockonee is just east of that river, but it's sandy, a lot of sand. What, them plasticine big tall things didn't go over there? I mean, you know, so it's only like 4 miles. So, um, but the shifting sands of the Ochlockonee River, and it's a southern river, so there are huge oak trees. 2, 3 people can't put their arms around. One person can't on a consistent basis. You might get close, but you're going to go, nah, that's a 2-er. No, that's a 1.5. No, that's a 3. And they mean 3 people around a tree. So there's some big oak trees down here on the river, but because of storms and bad weather and things, a lot of them have got struck by lightning, and so their carcasses, their bones, are stopping up and littering the river. And there are great big carcasses. And so, problem with the carcass is when the river's up and flowing, it likes to bank up a lot of sand around the logs that have log jammed on the Ochlockonee River. So that makes it even worse. Not only do you have the trees, now you got a shitload of sand that's blocked and up against the trees. So anyway, it's fun. I can't wait to get back on the river. I'm working on that before my birthday. Well, I'm still a 72. I got this thing, and this summer has been too hot for me. I got to, let's see, what time is it? 7 o'clock. I got to haul butt into the doctor so he can take my blood pressure and check my urine and see if I need to go in the hospital. Seriously, because my kidneys were on a decline, and I didn't have enough fluids, and my creatine levels was down, and I got to go get a blood drawn to see if they're going to put me in the hospital or not. I'm seriously, I got to go. Oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. I gotta go. Okay. Well, I love you, my friends, and Dante. If you ever, apparently you've seen my ugly mug before. My brother, I love you. I do. I do, with all my heart. I don't know how I've known you in the past, but cheers, absolutely. Um, but I'm your brother here now. I know I'm in the States, but cheers. And I do continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the honor, the healing, the meditation, the wonderful things, and to believe. I got confused at all this time. I my I got my prayer wrong. Who? What? Oh, please. I can't tell you when I'll be on, but if you ever see me on, uh, come by and let's chat for real. Um, Whatever it is, we'll see if we can figure something out. I know back in the day, I never had anybody that said they would help me figure something out. And sometimes just having somebody I could just talk to that didn't judge me, that didn't say, well, I don't know why you're doing that. No, we don't do that here. We might question you and say, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure that's what you want to do? Or are you sure you want to get involved? You know, gonna jump in that way, but we ain't gonna tell you you're stupid unless you're a good friend of mine and you've done something stupid. I was listening to somebody the other day. They said, I called my best friend stupid. And I said, well, how do you feel about it? He said, well, he deserved it. I couldn't call him anything worse than that. So stupid had to do. Like, what? Yeah, I wanted to call him something else, but stupid had to do. Now that's funny. I don't care who you are. Okay. It's coming up on a 20. It's just after 8. I got to call the doctor and make an appointment. He said just come in and they're going to do my arm, check my numbers, and then tell me yes or no to go to the hospital. So I know some folks say, well, you spoke too much, Dave. Well, I have not really smoked a lot. It's been like one bowl the whole night. I've just been hitting around the edges. And I like to tell folks that I like to sip it. I don't like to get a big old hit and all that smoke. No, I like to sip it because you can smell there are different blends. And I have a new blend and it's like, and then it smells different when you light it. And if you light it too much, it will just stink. But if you light it right and let the coals roll, then you can smell it like you can smoke it like a cigar. You can smell how it is there and everything. Is there what? Is there going to be a live native myths and legends tonight? Yes. Oh, by the way, where good dogs go poo. I can't remember what it is. I don't want to put my glasses on. Which moon? Tell her where. Boy, that was fun. Not. Boy, I hate those moments. Ooh, wee. Okay. I think I'm back. Come on. Yeah, when it don't want to work, you're sitting here going, and I did miss a treatment. Um, so anyway, and I've been on here for 2.5 hours. So I guess that's long, right? Um, but I'm so elated that finally, I know that I was heard and that I know it's up to me to continue the good fight. Then I will, no problem, man. I got it. So for what little I can do here, that good dog, come back and we'll have chat. And depending on where you are, if you need chat bad enough, I got 2 telephones you can call. So, but that's up to you. But we know a lot of folks around here, and several folks have called me at the house or personally. So, am I I've been through so much therapy myself. I have become a therapist. you know. Yep. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you, Dante. Um, thank you for the person who put it on the channel and all of that, because that was all I know sure enough meant for me. And with all my being. Cheers. God, man, you have made me so happy. I actually know you. Cheers.